Thanks for coming along with me today. We're at Devil's Hollow, which is in Bell Acres, Pennsylvania, about 12 miles northwest of the city of Pittsburgh, a few minutes outside of the village of Sewickley. The first 100 yards or so of the trail is always pretty muddy, even sometimes when it's not winter. And just stay to the side and you'll be fine. The trail splits here, and the side to the left is where we'll come back about a half an hour from now. But I'll show it to you here for a minute. You can also just take a right here, but it's a little bit steeper. And we'll be talking together through some of this walk. And through a lot of this walk, we can enjoy the silence together. So I decided to turn around. And we'll go through the shallow creek. And then head up the ridge. The trail is pretty chopped up in this area. If you look in the middle, you can see some hoof prints from horses, and it can be a little bit soft and muddy. There's some ferns off to the left and to the right. If it gets too muddy, you can just walk on the side. Now you're really starting to feel what the hills are like in southwestern Pennsylvania. The trail continues to climb, veers away from the creek that was on the left, and it climbs up in a short ridge. Not a single house is in sight, and I haven't seen anyone else. At least not yet. And now you can hear the wind picking up. We'll get to enjoy some snow falling. And you'll notice that by the time we're done, there's a light dusting. Let's just stop and watch the snow for a minute. Notice there's not a lot on the ground yet. The trail appears to have been banked on the far side to retain an edge. Here we're going to see probably some rock moss. Lots of different type of mosses, or moss. Well, no, it's a plural of moss. Are common in Appalachian. usually moist. May get dry in July and August. But it's a happy place for moss to live. Another nice thing about going on a hike in the Appalachian country is you can hear me breathing. Getting a lot of exercise when you walk up these hills. We're on the side of a ridge still. Look to the right, which I just did. You can see drop off. There's a ravine. You can barely see where I parked. And you can't see another house anywhere. The trail is well maintained. All of the trees that have fallen across it have been cut. There wasn't a single log to step over. You'll hear something off to the right up in the trees in a minute. I think it was one tree laying on another, getting blown in the wind and squeaking. There's train tracks a mile and a half away, down in the Ohio River Valley. The sound travels up this way as if it was next door. These hills like to give you small accomplishments. You often feel like you've made it to the top, only to see another ridge in front of you. You'll find some of these trail markers as you go. The markings from the Allegheny Land Trust. One of the nice things about being on the trail in winter is that you can see so far. I've come from down the ridge on the left. That's what I was pointing at. I could barely see the trail in the distance. at the top of the hill. Still not a house in sight. Dead trees laying everywhere, but still new trees coming up. This is probably the closest you'll come to a tree being over the trail. But this tree looks like it should be here. You can just duck under it. Walking's easier now. You just get to enjoy being outside. Just like there's a lot of moss around, there's also a lot of fungus. This one had a layer of acorns on top. Maybe at some point in my life, I'll learn how to identify all the types of fungus. It would be fun to eat some of them and live to tell about it. I do see another person on the trail. I attempted a trail wave. I did receive a reciprocal trail wave, although I think it was a few minutes after this one. That must be whose car was in the parking lot. Now you can see the snow slowly coming down. See it landing on the ferns and highlighting some of the logs in front of us. Sometimes when a tree falls, it takes a part of the trail with it. A strange part of me inside wanted to lay down in that hole, cover myself up with leaves, take a mid-afternoon winter's nap. I hear a bird off to the right, having fun in the woods, but I couldn't see it. Right after I learned about Pennsylvania fungus, I'll become an amateur ornithologist. Come to a fork in the trail. I'm going to go left to make this take me back home. Enjoying the sound of snowfall and a woodpecker in the background. Winter in southwestern Pennsylvania to me feels too long, but then you have days like this where you can see forever through the woods, which is especially nice in Devil's Hollow because all you see is the woods. The snow is starting to accentuate anywhere that doesn't have leaves. So one of the interesting things about Devil's Hollow is that there's no central focal point. You don't find any ruins in the woods. There's not a pond or a large creek. And one of the things that gives you is less people coming out. It's also not close enough to the village to be within walking distance or a short mountain bike ride. I think that's why that Homo sapien sighting that we had earlier felt so special to us. And as I was driving home after this hike, I saw his car at another park. He was having a good day. We start to come into an area that has American beech trees. Beautiful flat bark. Grow slow and tall. And have a nice color in the fall. They can be tempting targets to carve your initials in. Promise me you won't do that. We still have a lot of hiking left, but you'll notice that we're coming back to the creek that we saw in the beginning. Let's take a minute and watch the snowfall. And in what felt like a long minute when I was in the woods, feels rushed now. So I think I give it another shot here. That's really nice. Like a weary traveler left his walking aid for the other forest wanderers to appreciate, which we do. But it seemed too heavy to take along with us. Now we've made our way down into a valley. You can see a beech tree with someone carved their initials in. That creek is at the bottom of this valley, off to the right. And this valley will wind back down to the parking lot. There's 97 acres in Devil's Hollow, and it's protected by the Allegheny Land Trust. They own the land, and they won't develop it. As is the case with most of the trails around Sewickley. You can find a lot of mountain bike tracks where the trail is muddy. These logs are probably the closest thing to a trail improvement that you'll see. the land trust does pay attention to the quality of the forest. They recently did a project near this area where they removed a lot of what we would call burning bush, which may be native to your yard, but not a native plant in southwestern Pennsylvania. You can see some of the sawdust left over from cutting them down. Pack shoes that you don't mind if they get a little bit muddy. This part of the trail is the same as the creek. You see more mountain bike trails. In here I catch a glimpse of a sapling that was planted and supported by a stake. But you can't really see it on the video. I could hear the stream again as I walk past it. This is always a good time of year for that. I've always had quite a horizontal leap. Yeah, that was pretty impressive. You come back out of the creek bed for a while, but we still generally follow it all the way back. It's always funny to me when it's below freezing, when some things are frozen and others aren't. Who decides that? This bird is either saying hello or kindly asking me to leave. Let's just think he's saying hi. We're arriving back at the fork in the road. Well, it's not a road. You know what I mean. And you can see my car in the parking lot. Thanks for coming along with me today. It was fun having you here.